Welcome back to the Violet Hour podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and this is the place where the mysterious and the mundane collide. Today, I am not joined by Dennis because apparently we like to record a podcast and then disappear.
Like the winds of winter.
Like the winds of winter. But joining me is our eldest son, Michael. And Michael, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. You already know my name, so I'm not going to say it again, but I am Michael. I am studying history at school. I'm writing a book. I think it's really good.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm editing it, or will be editing
Well,
it.
will be.
Will be.
But, I have to send you the other 5 pages.
Far out. Yeah, so
Or wouldn't it be 10? Because it took you a few days to write the other 5.
75, bro.
Just send you 5?
75, yeah. It's a busy weekend.
Right.
So, we're just going to, I think, Michael's going to be a third co-host, I think, on this podcast, just so that we can be a little more consistent.
I'm a third wheel.
You're not a third wheel. It's just that, the times that Dennis and I can record are 1 o'clock in the morning when we're both home and
you're both falling asleep.
Yeah, and so the vibe is just very quiet and also we're not trying to make a lot of noise in the house and
yeah, man. Or else
we'll see how this goes. I think it'll be fun. And Michael's actually going to be taking on a couple of topics and leading the podcast too, which I'm excited about. And I hope you guys will be too. And this, I think, will mean that we'll be able to be more consistent. Okay, Mike, it's spooky season, yeah?
Yeah.
And so,
doesn't feel like it, though.
Doesn't it feel like it?
I don't know. It's I don't know. It's Halloween seems to be so watered down nowadays.
No, baby, you know what it is? It's because you're not a little kid anymore.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So I was looking for kind of ghost stories.
Or maybe there's no good horror movies.
So I don't know. I haven't watched a horror movie in a really long time.
It has been 70 years.
It's been 70 years. No. So, okay, I was looking for ghost stories. Because, DC ghost stories.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, maybe I can, find something from our Dennis and I's hometown, your dad and I's hometown of Miami that,
Miami, Florida.
We haven't heard about. Because, if you live in Miami, I guess anywhere, but if you're into anything, weird or spooky, everyone knows about,
Santeria.
Yeah, I mean, but that's, a religion. But,
Really?
Yeah, so,
Look, I respect that, man, but that's not religious at all.
Right. But so I was looking for spooky things, right?
Right.
And it is totally a religion, Michael. It is it's an actual religion for
Really?
People. Yeah.
For Catholics?
No.
Oh.
Okay. There's another place called the Biltmore in Coral Gables, and that's haunted purportedly.
I know about the Biltmore Hotel.
Yeah.
You told me.
Yeah, well, we used to drive by it every day.
Right. It's on the way to school when we used to live in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
It was on Coral Way, no?
Coral Gables.
Coral Gables, right. But wasn't there a married couple where the wife...
I might have told you some story, but
man,
it's a gangster or something, I think.
Yeah, there was a mobster at the Biltmore.
And then the Miami Cemetery, you have
a lot of voodoo and
stuff.
Rituals and all that stuff.
Okay. But what really surprised me is apparently the most haunted place in Miami is someplace I actually had never heard of. It's called Villa Paula. And at one time it was the Cuban consulate in Miami. Mm-hmm. So let's reverse back in time a little bit to 1899. The Spanish and American War is over. America won. And through it, Cuba gained its independence from Spain. Spain essentially, was they gave up their last colonial stronghold in the Caribbean, including Puerto Rico. And then they also gave up Guam and
the Philippines.
Yeah.
All right, quick historical fact, but did you know that the Spanish owned the Netherlands?
I did not know that.
Dude.
Whoa.
Imagine maybe
that's where our blondes and whiteness in our family come from.
I think blonde hair is a genetic mutation. But then again, blonde hair, look, you being a redhead, I think you have more Danish in you than you do Scandinavian.
No idea. No idea, darling.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Because blonde hair...
Oh, he's going to go on a tangent.
Blonde hair, they come from the Saxons. Not the Anglo-Saxons, but the Saxons in Northern... Rough focus.
So, like ADD up in here.
Oh, wait, hold up.
What?
The gringos, bro.
The gringos.
Right. So the gringos in the U.S. took on the mission for helping this new nation, right? And this nation was Cuba. And pretty much they set up a provisional government on the island. And for half a century, Cuba saw prosperity, all right? And it became like the Las Vegas of the Caribbean, right? Except, it wasn't a literal wasteland. It had a beach and an ocean. And a lot less lights.
Yeah, there was a lot less rules compared to like American Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So like I tell no lies when I say Michael is a walking Wikipedia of history. So like, okay, in the early like 1900s, prohibition was rampant in the States, meaning no one could get their legal liquor on. And Cuba became a hotspot for the elite to like get wasted, and it became a smuggler's paradise. I mean, you think about people.
Even the president.
Yeah, no, presidents. Think about Hemingway and like all the really cool writers of the time.
Yeah. Although, like the artists of the time, they spent a lot of time. They spent a lot of their life in Paris.
Yeah, but yeah, between Paris.
Yeah.
But this is like post World War I.
Oh yeah, like the Great War was over.
Yeah. So
and
Cuba was.
And the thing with like after the Great War, a lot of the old money and a lot of the old empires, they lost power, and a lot of them fell.
Right, but we're focusing on
on Cuba.
Cuba.
Right. Whoops.
Okay, no, it's fine, babe. So, okay. What is not surprising at all is that, like, the gangsters, they took a liking to Cuba, too. And so they invested a hell of a lot of money building hotels and resorts, and they made huge land grabs. And they even took, like, Cuba even took government advice, from what I can understand, from this gangster. He's a real famous old-time gangster called Meyer Linsky. You can look him up, but we're not going to get to it. So Miami being so close to Cuba, it became a pipeline for everything that was decadent during the 20s. And Cuba was like, yeah, we're going to put a consulate in here just to kind of like encourage those Cuban-American relations. And they found a guy, he was living in Key West at the time, and he had a hell of a lot of swagger to oversee it. And his name was Don meaning like senor or mister, but his name was...
Sir.
Or sir, yeah.
Yeah.
His name was Domingo Milord. Domingo Milord was a prominent figure in Miami's Cuban community during the 1920s. So, and as consul, he served as the official representative of Cuba in Miami. His role would have encompassed a range of diplomatic and consular duties. And not really interested in any of that. I'm more interested in his love life. He was madly in love with a woman named Paula Milord.
His cousin?
No, like they were married, dude.
Oh, what was her...
Her maiden name?
Yeah, what was her maiden name?
I don't know. I read it and then I never wrote it down. I can't remember. You can try to Google it.
Yeah, I should.
So anyway.
But dude, that would have been crazy if he married his cousin.
That would be a little gross too. So she was an opera singer known for her captivating performances. And like, I don't know, when I think about this, I just get the vibe from like...
Sophia Loren.
No, Michael, but she's Italian. Michael, have you ever seen The Godfather Part 2?
Yeah, no.
No.
No, I do know that...
Okay, so Cuba is really big, like, in The Godfather Part 2. And this is, like, a different time. This is, like, in the late 50s, around the Revolution.
Yeah.
But there's a part when Al Pacino goes to his brother and, like, Bautista is, like, it's all kind of, they're in this big fancy party. And I kind of just imagine her being like this, but, like, in the 20s,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But they lived in Key West. So, I'm sure they traveled back and forth to
Oh,
Cuba.
yeah. And also, I mean, it's a boat right away.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
But also... the Italian mob.
Well, yeah, the Italian mob was heavy in Cuba, yeah.
Yeah, and like there was this, like according to the CIA and like file reports I've read, because you can find them on Wikipedia, right? Easy,
Right.
right? Like there was talk and of like like the CIA uncovered operations by like that the Italian mob was taking to assassinate Fidel Castro.
Michael, we're not even there yet, though, dude.
I know we're in 1926,
Okay.
but you know, in 1962, it was a totally different story.
Okay, but you know what? That'll be your next story. Put that on your list for
Hold up. First, I have Mary Queen of Scots.
Right.
Then I have to find something in Ohio, a random state. That's like I don't even know where Ohio is. Well, yeah, I do, but it's like I don't think about it every day. I think about California
Okay.
and Texas
Okay.
and even New Hampshire, but Ohio is like I think about Nebraska more than I think about Ohio.
Okay, love.
I know.
Okay, so back to Domingo
Right.
in the 1920s. So this is like 1923-ish, whatever. Domingo began constructing a small mansion as his home and as what would be his home and the Cuban consulate in Miami. The headquarters for the Cuban-American relationships was a mansion and a small mansion. Like I think today when we think of mansions, we think of like these big houses. It wasn't like that big, but it was a decent size for like a consulate in like a small town at the time. And so it had Moorish arches, Spanish tiles, wine cellars, 10 rooms, 18-foot tall ceilings, which you need that because, Florida's
Right.
hot and the breezes. And then 2 luxurious baths, Tuscan columns, and more Greco-Roman pizzazz than like the Parthenon.
That sounds like a mansion that people would.
I know, but when you look at it, you're like, oh, but like,
Yeah, but
but
but back then.
But I'll post pictures to our Instagram.
But back then it was really nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, houses were bigger too, but it was nice because
Houses were bigger back then?
No, there were bigger mansions back then. But this is this is like a governmental office, so it wasn't going to be like crazy, but it was a nice size.
All right.
And it was designed by a Havana architect by the name of Cayetano Freire. And it literally it is like when you look at it, there's so much to look at as far as like the details and the intricacies. Like just the front door alone blows me away.
What's on the front door?
No, it's like this weird door where it has like these wooden like spiral columns. I don't even know if it's original, but like the door that's on it now is like wicked cool.
That's cool, man.
So the crazy thing is Miami and hurricanes, they kind of go together.
Yeah.
And this hurricane, they didn't name them back then, but it's called the Great Hurricane of 1926, blew in just in time to baptize it shortly after it was built. And I'm not sure if they had moved up, the Milords had moved up from Key West to their new home located at 5811 North Miami Avenue. Despite the fact that like it was this new construction and it was like this fantastic house, rumors quickly began to swirl around it. Like they hadn't even been living in it very long.
Yeah.
And the rumors surrounded this like authentic Cubanesque Neo-Classical mansion were that it was cursed. Despite the fact that it was nestled in a very provincial like area of Miami at the time, Miami then isn't the Miami that you think of now. Like it was still mostly agricultural. And so they would have been situated between like farms and like just country and
gardens.
And gardens and just like a lot of lush area. And the area of this part of Miami was known as Lemon City.
Lemon City?
Yep. And then after the couple moved in, Domingo did officially name the house Villa Paula after his wife. And like the name is still on it. Like he put it on the front of the...
Oh, he actually had that commissioned.
Yeah, like it's like stucco. So like...
But that's cool though.
It's really cool. Yeah. Geez, I'm like hitting this table. Sorry about that. So... When I personally, because I'm a creative too person, so when I look at the house, I can envision them just sitting, like on the portico or like the terrace, drinking their café con leche and like being surrounded by bougainvillea and like all these tropical plants and obviously the palm trees and stuff. But today, like, there's still a pretty nice yard associated with the house, but today the house actually sits in the part of Miami known as Little Haiti. And Little Haiti is a rich and vibrant community, but, like, if you look at the street now, it's kind of hard to picture that it would have been surrounded by, like,
Yeah.
like agricultural
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Little Haiti, especially.
But the crazy thing is like, like superstitious people and stuff. So, like,
Yeah, man.
a lot of, like, the citizens of, like, Little Haiti, or anyone that, like, regularly passes by the house and knows some of the history, or, like, the
Or it's like if it's word by mouth.
yeah,
like, in
and
stories.
like, exactly. And so, like, they will literally, like, avoid walking by it.
Like, they will take, because Miami, the traffic is horrible.
So
And it takes like an hour to get to like Publix to home. And Publix is like across the street.
Not that
right?
bad. So, like, they'll, like, bless themselves, like, before
It's like if they have to, if they're forced to go through there.
Yeah. So, like, back then, the rumor mill was spinning, like, pretty quickly. And the rumors that surrounded the house at the time primarily involved, like, the construction of it. So this house went up super quick, and it was made, most of the materials came or were sourced from Cuba. The biggest thing, like, that people at the time were really talking about were these hand-painted tiles. You can still see them today. And apparently there was, like, some kind of dubious, like, reputation around them. I don't know what it was. And then the people that built the house, the actual workmen on the house, were Cubans too. And some people were like, oh, they were nothing more than indentured slaves.
Wait, where did that come from?
Just, like, rumors, like, around, like, surrounding it. I don't know if it happened at the time. Like, that was, like, a little bit unclear in my research. But basically, these are things that people say. And then they also say a voodoo priest might have put a hex on the area.
Oh.
And still others say that it was built on a cemetery, which I'm like, at the time, it was all agricultural.
Yeah.
So unless it was, like, Native American.
Or like the Taino people.
No, this would have, no, not
the
Taino's like Santo Domingo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, what would
And
wouldn't it have been?
If I'm not mistaken, in South Florida, it was the Miccosukee Indian tribes.
Oh, the Miccosukee tribe. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I couldn't substantiate any of this, but, like, again, the truth about Miamians is that we can be a little over dramatic, and I bet they were. Oh my
God, yeah, you can.
I bet they were the same way back then. Okay, so as I mentioned, Villa Paula was initially built to serve as the Cuban consulate. And honestly, Cuba looked at it like it was supposed to be a Cuban gem in the Americas, right? And at the time, Miami, like Cuba, was experiencing a very transformative period, characterized obviously by a burgeoning Cuban immigrant population. I mean, and that's just the history of South Florida, to be honest with you. But, at the time, it was very free flowing. It wasn't anything where, like, people were
in Cuba,
like, making rafts to get there.
Yeah,
and then the biggest thing is that the United States government and the Cuban government were kind of intertwined. The United States was helping help Cuba.
Well, help Cuba get on its feet.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like, especially after the Cuban-American War in those 50 years, they were helping put. Some people say they were just puppets for the American government, so, like, they were very placating to the American government, which might have led to
the rise of communism.
Well, because, like, surely in the 30s, like, Cuba and, like, America, like, in general, like, in the late 20s, early 30s, like, the Great Depression was happening.
Right. We were in hard times.
Yeah, and there was, like, issues with, like, sugar, and so Cuba wasn't being as prosperous anymore, and so people, when you go from a time of high prosperity to
absolutely nothing,
people kind of freak out. So
yeah.
But anyway, in the 50 years...
And then people tend to point fingers, too.
Yeah, in the 50 years since, or 50, actually a little bit more, years between the Spanish-American War, Cuba and America had a really nice relationship. It was just, something that was pretty cool. And they continued to have this relationship with this little island nation sitting 90 miles off of Key West for a long time, until what I like to call the poster child for a bearded, cigar smoking communist asshole. If you don't, like, I mean, he just went cuckoo for Cuba and essentially ruined it all for everyone. But like, obviously, most
Well, yeah, I mean, like, what happened?
especially
If you look at Cuba today, it's a literal time machine.
yeah, I mean that's
Like,
changing. That's changing a lot now, more so because of a lot of European and foreign investment. But yeah, you know,
Yeah.
back in the day.
But then again, it's like
Cuba-
that just, I don't know. That leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. It's like, if European and global investments, are they investing in properties for themselves or to help Cuba get on its feet?
Obviously,
Because the Cuban people,
I don't know. The Cuban people are always going to suffer as long as there's communism. That's just plain and simple.
yeah.
So, how did Villa Paula become Miami's most haunted house? That is the question we are here to talk about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you know, the thing that widely contributed to the lore surrounding the home isn't the picturesque setting of the home, but rather, like, and it's kind of weird. There's like this concrete sarcophagus.
What?
In the backyard.
Wait, hold on. So we were talking about, okay, well, it's like a Native American burial ground. Or a voodoo wizard
these are all,
hexed
like-
the ground. Well, there is a concrete sarcophagus in the back.
Sarcophagus. Yeah. And so,
And I'm like, what?
right. And it's nestled like so like in Florida and South Florida, there are these like ficus trees and they have these like very spindly roots and they don't go very deep. But like
Yeah.
the whole tree is covered, or not the whole tree, the whole sarcophagus is covered in these like the roots from the ficus tree. And so
Wait. And the sarcophagus is outside.
Yeah, it's just like this concrete box. And I don't like. I feel like when they call it a sarcophagus, but I don't know that. I don't know. So okay, according to local lore, the crypt in the backyard supposedly holds the remains of Villa Paula's first resident and namesake, Paula Milord. The thing is, this cement box, it's like not big enough to house a fully grown adult. Like, unless, oh my God.
Well, unless she's like 5'0".
Right. Or like, you like.
But how big is the box?
It's
though?
not that big. Okay. So the thing is, I never knew about this house, and so I've never actually seen it
yeah,
like, I'm just going by pictures.
Look, I didn't know. I've never known about this house until now.
And so I was just like, I don't know. I don't buy that, but like, we'll get back to the sarcophagus. Okay. Okay. So who was Paula Milord, right? I already told you I don't care about like Domingo. Like, he was a consulate. Okay, whatever. But Paula, she's like the primary like character in this whole like story of this haunting. Who was she? Like, what do we really know about this woman who haunts Villa Paula? And the thing is, I really couldn't find out a whole lot of information. What I could find was that she was known for her love of playing the piano. She would brew copious amounts of café cubano.
I like her.
Me too, right? And like, okay, Michael, I know you know what café cubano is, but like for our listeners, if you don't, basically...
It is heaven on earth.
It is espresso that you brew. It's like a very finely ground espresso that you brew in like a mocha pot. And as the coffee brews, you like get a bunch of sugar and you put it into like a measuring cup, or like, honestly, like we like use these like silver bell shaped containers. It looks like a little mini pitcher. Okay. So you put the sugar in that, and then you like, as the coffee comes up, like the very first drops come up out of the mocha pot, you like pour a little bit of drops at a time, and then you like whip, like your arms will get a workout because you like whip the sugar to this like creamy sugary paste that you can still kind of pour. And that's called la espumita. And then once the coffee is like done brewing, you just pour that coffee into that sugary mixture. And it makes like the most
It's better than Starbucks.
It's so much better than Starbucks.
And I've spent $500 in Starbucks. My bank told me.
You have? You should just make café cubano at home.
Like, that's what I mean. It's like, oh my gosh. I could have...
I know. That's my fault. Because, like, as I sip...
You created a monster with the stars.
As I sip my Starbies right now.
But yeah, listen, there's some really pretty cups.
There are.
And then it's like, I look at them, I'm like, oh, do they have anything else other than this ugly color, right?
No, they don't.
And they
Because they
don't.
go by seasons. I always wait for Christmas. Like, I have 1,200 stars right now, and I'm just, like, waiting for Christmas to see what
That
they
is
come up.
$1,200.
No, it's... So you get 2 stars. I'm a gold
Right,
member.
you get double stars because
Yeah.
you put money. I'm so sorry. Because
No.
you put money on your card.
No,
I
so,
started
like,
doing that.
If you get gold status, then I don't know. I think they changed it, but back in the day, like I still have my original little gold card. Okay, we love you, Starbucks.
But you're expensive.
Not sponsored. Okay, so
I wish we were.
Back to La Señora Paula.
Sponsor us, please.
Paula Milord was pretty stylish. No, I mean, come on, she's a cubanita. She's gonna be stylish.
Oh yeah.
But she's been described as like gracefully gliding around the house in her like ankle length dresses, which I'm kind of like, okay, this is the 20s. I mean, she was older by the time. I don't know if I mentioned this, but by the time the Milords moved into the house, they were already in their 50s. So she might.
Well,
have,
I mean, what year was it when?
1926 when they moved.
Okay, so it was the 20s when they were in their 50s.
Yes. So she probably wouldn't be wearing those short skirts, right? She was probably wearing like knee length. I mean,
right.
not knee length. She was
but at the same time, I mean,
ankle length dresses.
Well, she wasn't American because with American women back in the day, they like the style. I'm so sorry about the table.
Michael keeps hitting the table.
Yeah.
So,
like the thing to be, it was like a boyish look for women.
In the 20s during like the
Oh, dude.
What is the 20s called? What was that period in the 20s called?
It was the Roaring 20s.
The Roaring 20s. That's right. I wrote that in here.
I had a substitute teacher during the pandemic when I was in high school. He was the history. He's like, man, my grandmother was a flapper. And I'm like, all right, we really didn't need to know that.
Wow, she must have been pretty old because my grandma was born in 1928.
Wait, great-grandma was born in 28?
1928, yeah. So anyway, back to La Señora Paula. Yeah, so
I thought she was born in 25.
No, babe, Michael.
I'm
going to call you Dennis.
Oh,
okay, so she was born in the late 19th century. And the world she lived in, we've already been discussing this, was marked by some major cultural and societal shifts. But as the wife of the Cuban consul, she certainly would have played a significant role in Miami's social scene when the city was rapidly evolving. And as the legend goes, Paula became... Are those the dogs? Okay.
I hope not.
Okay, we're gonna pause for a second. Okay, just close that door. Sorry. You don't have to take off your headphones. Just close that door. Like our door. Sorry, guys. Like, pod loud. Okay. So,
are we up?
Yeah, we're up.
Okay, sweet.
We're fine.
Yeah.
So,
the dogs caught a ghost on camera.
The dogs caught a ghost.
Wait, they're not a camera,
They're
though.
so funny.
Are the dogs real?
Yes, the dogs are real. They're my mom's dogs. Okay, so legend has it that Paula...
they do nothing but lay on the ground all day. It's like they won't even move.
What a life. No, I'm like, if I ever fall down the stairs, it's their fault. So the spirit bound to the home because... Okay, I'm all messed up. Okay, let me go back. My thoughts are like, Michael, you keep like messing me up.
Me? No.
It's all your fault, Michael. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
So legend has it that like Paula had become this like restless spirit bound to the home because she died in one of the bedrooms after having had one of her legs amputated during
Oh my God.
due to what was probably a gangrene infection. I mean, this is South Florida, right? Like
Right. And it's rural too, so hospitals were
right. And so
far.
like I said, they think, basically the rumors started that she was buried in this sarcophagus in the backyard just outside of their bedroom window because her husband wished to keep her close to him. And as much as like that idea is just so romantic and like so nice.
Dude, your leg is infected.
It's not true. The couple only lived in the home for 4 years. And while they did, apparently they like experienced all sorts of mishaps, just again, like that. The house was built...
like, it wasn't meant to be.
It was built really quickly. I mean, the house is still standing. It's been almost 100 years. So, like, great workmanship. Hey.
Right. But it's not meant to be lived
they
in.
Moved in or we're just about to move in. This major hurricane comes in. So, it's just a lot of just unfortunate, like a series of unfortunate events, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, city and county records indicate that Paula left Villa Paula in 1930. And the public deck records state that she passed away actually on August 25th in 1932 at Jackson Memorial Hospital. That hospital's still there today. It's a great hospital. Due to complications. So at the time, the obituaries in the New York Times and the Key West Citizen report she's buried at the Miami's Woodlawn Cemetery. And the thing is, at the Woodlawn Cemetery, and that's the cemetery that's kind of close to Abuela's house.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no headstone marking Paula's resting place.
Oh, so...
Like, no, but there's records that indicate that she's actually definitely buried there. There's just no headstone.
But she's in a unmarked grave.
Right. So...
Oh, dude.
I know. And like...
because here's the thing. Names are powerful seals for people.
Yeah, I guess.
And if you put somebody in an unmarked grave...
Yeah, and
that's bad juju,
again,
man.
I don't know if it was intentional or if it was because... I don't know. But basically, her husband died a year or so later in Key West.
And his grave is marked.
No, his grave is also unmarked. So I don't know if it was... It could mean a couple of things. It could mean that either they died paupers, right?
Right.
Or it could just mean maybe that was his choice. Like he didn't want anyone knowing, it could have been, I don't know, it could have been any number of things.
Right. And and this was in like what, 1970?
This is like 1930s.
1930s.
Yeah. So like again, governmental.
Where did I get 1970 from?
I don't know. So like
neither do I.
So like
anyway, so this was in the 30s.
Yeah. So and like again,
were they well off?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, they built a mansion.
The thing is, and here's the thing: if they didn't have any, I couldn't find any records or family. She had family. Obviously, they would have family in Cuba,
right?
But if they didn't have any family here, like if they didn't have any children or anything here, and they hadn't made any prearranged,
nobody would be there to like take care of their
gravestone or to order a plaque or marker, then right, it wouldn't have happened unless like another friend did it. And again, this is like there was time in the country, money was very tight. People all over. It was like right around the Great Depression time. So
I just have this
it's very likely that it was just not important. Honestly,
there are two trees at the back of the villa, right?
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, with that tree, twice a year, flowers randomly appear.
I think, you want to know something?
And so people, that's why that goes into the thing where
dude,
it's like,
I was about to say, I think those two, they're buried underneath the tree, or they're stuffed in that sarcophagus.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's an easily figure outable thing. You just have to cut down the freaking tree and like open the...
Don't cut down the tree!
But again, no one... Or like even like that ground penetrating... None of that's been done. It's like... Because it's all mystery and lore and
Well, and also, you don't want bad juju.
Yeah. Okay. So by the time... So, okay. They died... They died in their like 60s-ish, right? And so by the time Paula died, Domingo had already left. He was no longer the consul, right? And basically the Cuban government was suffering from like a governmental upheaval. There was these sugar investments I think we talked about already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they basically put the house up for sale. Okay. And the person who bought the house, her name was Helen Reardon. And she lived there until she died in 1970.
And how old was she?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So she was older. And so she lived in that house from like basically around the 1930s to the 70s. And the lore of the hauntings or whatever, I think she would say she would see shadows in the house or whatever. And I've heard, like, I read some things that she didn't like cats. And so like cats on the property die or whatever. But I couldn't find anything to really substantiate that.
Yeah, it's probably just...
And again, like a lot of the reports on this are like kind of like nothing for nothing. They're like just fun and hokey or like, there's not like anything major. There are some really good, well-written articles, which I will list in the show notes, but nothing like,
Yeah, well, while you were doing research for this, I saw you watching Hispanic news segments on it.
I was watching.
And one thing that always fascinated me with Hispanic news and like just watching it, even though I couldn't understand like anything what they were saying at all. When I went to Abuelo's house, they would go to some guy who's been cursed.
Right.
Or like, and then like a village in the Caribbean,
Yeah, that's called
like being destroyed.
I think that's called primer impacto.
Right. And then they go on to like, and now with George Lopez, like, you know what I mean? It's just, I love it.
Okay, so after what was her name? I lost her. Helen Reardon died in 1970. That's when like the deed started changing hands. Okay, all right. So by the time 1974 rolled around, the house was in bad shape. I guess it had been maybe left empty or whatever.
Right.
But according to a report,
Or unless, Miss Reardon, she didn't take care of the house at all.
Oh, exactly. That could have been like a Grey Garden situation for
Yeah,
sure.
because-
Do you know Grey Gardens?
Sounds familiar.
Look it up. It's an amazing. Oh, you know what? That'll be one of my next podcasts. It's gonna be on Grey Gardens.
All right.
Okay, coming up. So the house is actually
Whenever.
whenever.
Not like 2 years from now.
No, next week, Mike. Next week.
Next week.
The house was in bad shape. So
Maybe not.
When this dude named Cliff Ensor bought the villa in 1974, and according to a report by Terrence Cantarella for the Biscayne Times, vandals had like shot out the beautiful stained glass windows. There was graffiti like, you know, scrawled all across the stucco walls on the outside. And honestly, like the city of Miami like was ready to order its demolition. And then, you know, obviously you had this like, you know, lore of this one-legged Cuban woman, like just, you know, walking the hall or like
one leg.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. So for his part, Cliff Ensor, he totally played into the hauntedness of this villa. Like you can see, like there's some videos and like news articles of him, and I think he was just doing it like to bring up this like
to like build a story around it.
Yeah, like to bring up the mystique of like, because again, the house,
because it's like
the house is a beautiful house.
Yeah,
and like
it's old
houses that
it's
have
decrepit,
mystery,
and it's in Miami.
So he would say that and again, obviously, I don't know if this is true or false. I wasn't there, but this is what he would say. He would say that he would hear like a knocking at the door, and then he would go and answer the door, and no one would be there.
Every ghost story has that.
I know. Bedroom doors would slam shut. And then he'd hear like the clack of heels on the back porch, and he would smell roses and Cuban coffee.
Okay.
I know. The Cuban coffee is what gets me.
All right.
And then like...
what got me was the clack of heels.
And then, yeah.
Smelling roses, that... Like with... All right. Smelling roses, I didn't pay much mind to, because as Catholics, that shows us the presence of the Virgin Mary.
Yeah. But like if she...
But Cuban coffee, dude, that's not... That shouldn't be...
A lot of ghosts, like they'll say like... Was it Mary Todd? No. There's like an American...
Although, hold on. So I was speaking with... oh my gosh. Like, I think it was the stepmom of one of my friends. She was telling me about, you know, like what, like before the dead bodies start to smell funny, right? Or like, stink. Like just, they smell like roses or flowers.
What?
Or like cherries. Like it's a sweet scent.
Like a saccharine, like super.
Yeah,
oh,
like
wow.
this. It's a sweet scent that our bodies will emit when we die.
Before
Before we decompose and maggots start. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So
when I heard that, I'm like,
that's creepy.
There's no way. Like.
Yeah. So like Cliff Ensor would say, you know, like doors would lock on their own, and
That's
then
you.
he would say that he reported seeing this ghostly apparition of a one-legged woman gliding in the halls beneath the chandeliers.
And falling from the ceiling.
And then chandeliers falling from the ceiling, a la like Phantom of the Opera.
Dude, that's what just, you know, this guy in the half mask is like, Avast ye Nottingham. No, wait, that's the wrong movie. Hold up. That's, oh my God. Christopher. Oh, what's that one guy who played Robin Williams? Not Robin Williams, but Robin Hood. With it has Morgan Freeman in it.
Oh,
it's during the Third Crusade with Richard Lionheart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's in the beginning.
Kevin
Costner. Avast ye Nottingham.
Okay, we are so many tangents on this podcast.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Anyway, let's go.
Back to the house. Okay, so other people have claimed to hear and see her apparition, primarily in her bedroom. and even interact with her. Obviously, the mysterious footsteps are freaky, but then there's disembodied voices and an unexplained sounds have convinced others, not just Mr. Ensor, that the Villa Paula was indeed and is haunted. So there is this really, it's a nice news report from WSVN TV Channel 7 in Miami from like back in 2015, where the current owner, or maybe the previous owner from like the owner that owns the place now, I don't know, I couldn't figure that out, would hear like Carmen being played on an unseen piano.
Carmen?
Yeah, Carmen is like a opera.
Oh.
Okay, so another account comes from a Cuban fashion designer who lived in the house named Fernando Garcia, and he rented Villa Paula in like the early 2000s. And so he had said in this report that I read that there was one time where he was seated at his desk and he had like this really freaky experience where a window pane suddenly fell from the frame behind.
Hold up. So an actual window pane fell from the frame.
No, like the frame. Yeah, like so. Like,
the window frame.
So I don't know if it's like the wood surrounding the window or like
the window itself.
Right, I don't know.
Or the entire window.
Yeah, like so it came crashing down, and
then again, it's an old house.
Right, and he got up to investigate.
Right.
And then this and again, I don't know how he knows how much it weighed, but he says it was like a 40-pound plaster brick fell down from the ceiling and landed right where he'd been sitting.
All right, at that point,
it's kind of freaky, right?
I would have, dude.
Garcia's words were pretty chilling. He was like, if I hadn't moved when I did, I would be dead.
I wonder.
And I wonder if, I'm like, oh, that's your guardian angel. That's your guardian angel breaking the window. It's Paula.
That's what I was about to say. It could have been Paula helping that guy.
Helping the guy out, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Because like ghosts, like their energy.
I don't believe it.
Look, I'm like, all right, that Ghost Hunter show?
Yeah.
And that guy, like the lead dude, he's like, all right, Ghost, you're very, very mean. And it's like, it's the early 2000s. So he's wearing these cheesy t-shirts, you see? Like, oh my gosh, he's wearing these cheesy t-shirts with a cross on them and like cursive writing.
Those are fun shows. Okay.
Dude, and then like the camera guy, he would turn the camera towards him and he'd make like a pog face like,
I'm so scared. I know.
They were YouTubers before YouTubers were YouTubers.
It was awesome. I love it. It's awesome.
Dude. Okay. Although, listen, I do believe in demons though.
Yeah. I'm not saying, I think like...
Look, I don't believe in ghosts.
I think ghosts...
But I do believe in demons.
Okay, so like, like purgatory?
Right.
I think if anything, ghosts are people stuck in purgatory.
Really?
Yeah, that's my take.
That would suck then.
So,
because you're stuck to a place and that's your
because
purgatory.
Eventually your purgatory will come up and you'll be done and you can like go wherever you go.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know. So anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, he didn't die because he got up because the window broke.
Paula saved him.
Okay, today, Villa Paula is an art gallery, and it's like present day occupants. They have varying views on the paranormal activity.
No bricks have fallen on anybody?
Right. No. I don't know. Like if you look it up now online, like there's like they have an Instagram and a Facebook page. It's like totally
and you can visit it now.
You can totally visit it. It's been redone and it's actually really pretty. But this one artist, I guess he had like a studio there or something. His name is Joe Chichiringo. And he was not a firm believer in ghosts. And he witnessed like a lot of the visitors coming in, like psychics and paranormal investigators. And he was like, he was saying that one claimed there was a baby buried in the backyard, which kind of made me sad. I was like, well, but yeah. So basically he says on one occasion, and this is a quote, a psychic medium channeled the spirit of Paula herself, who had a message to convey. According to Chicharino, the psychic said, I love you. I love what you've done to the place. The house had a very important part in my life. And I love that you brought it back to life. Just like, it's so stupid. I don't know.
Oh, dude, that...
Like, I'm sorry. Like, why would a ghost...
Like, why would a ghost waste their time?
Exactly.
Like, dude...
Like, number one, the energy to communicate. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
But also, it's like... Here's the thing with psychics, man. like psychics, it's like they read people literally. It's called psychology.
Right.
It's an actual major.
I do think people
people
can
make money off.
like people can have visions and people can have
Look, I do believe that people can have visions, but it's like, but if you have a vision, I don't think you would want to talk about it.
No, I don't think so either.
Like that, because it's like when you think about it, having a vision or seeing a dead person, but like not like somebody you know who has died in front of you or sitting at your bedside.
Exactly.
You want to talk about that.
I don't know. Okay,
It's like,
so
I don't know, man.
back
That's
to
just,
what we are talking about,
Right.
which is Villa Paula. Okay, so the house has been like, about 100 years now. So it's had a very...
And it's been restored.
Now it is, yes.
Yeah.
It has a long history, right?
We gotta go see the art.
Ghostly legends. So we know it was it was a consulate. It's been a private residence. It's been a doctor's office.
Wait, a what?
Yeah. And it's even been a senior citizen's home. And I don't know if I couldn't find any.
How big is it? Is it to be for?
It's got 10 rooms. It's a pretty
10 rooms.
nice sized house. It's like it's a mansion. It's like it's nice. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a pretty house.
Well, and also it's like a senior citizen's home. I'm not surprised by that with it being Miami, because it's like, because within Miami, one thing that I've noticed is that there are many hospitals and little bus stations that help, the elderly get to like their families, their children's houses, their hospitals, and all that. It's really nice.
So the cool thing is that in 1983, recognizing its historical significance, the city of Miami bestowed an official historic designation upon this little architectural gem in the city. And then they extended the designation in 1987 to include the exterior, interior, and the adjacent lot.
Why didn't they just do that in 83?
No idea. So, and basically it was just, saying, this house has a cultural importance to the city of Miami. Yeah.
And historical, too.
And again, like I said, despite the fact that it had been, abandoned for many years, it wasn't like really, truly like
vandalized.
Not like, there was some vandalization, but not like as bad as it could have been, right?
Right.
And some say it's probably because of the superstition and the fear of like pissing off some ghosts.
Not because there's a huge Cuban population in Miami.
Right. But the thing is, and again, at the time, this house is
I'm
not,
Cuban
this
because of
house
you.
is not located in Little Havana. It's located in Little Haiti. And I don't know that the people there would care. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I just like, and I saw another report that it was like a crack den and stuff.
Crack den?
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily true though. Okay, so the thing that we may not know a whole lot about the life or death of Paula Milord, but I bet she was like really enigmatic in life. And
she dressed well too.
Yeah.
When it comes to dressing well, there's a certain level of enlightenment you must achieve, right? Where it's like if somebody comes up to you and says, "I love the way you dress," and then but you know that you just threw that outfit on, right? You have achieved enlightenment.
Like you have good style.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what is it? Like you guys hate? Like the fit works. The fit, is that what you guys say?
You passed the vibe check.
You tell me about the fit check. Okay, so the mansion that does bear her name will hopefully continue to be this unique landmark for Cuban expats. I did see one video. I think it was the Spanish one it was like American Teletv America, something like that. It is in Spanish. But basically, I think they were saying, I think it was that I saw, that when you're inside the house, it smells like Cuba. And again, like,
really?
Yeah, like all of the materials were sourced from Cuba. Yeah, so I was like, oh.
Even the restoration materials.
Right, and so like you have to understand that like for Cuban expats, a lot of them, so nowadays it is a lot easier to travel, through like different ways to Cuba. But back in the day, like
Cuba, you had to escape.
Once you escaped Cuba, you didn't really go back. And so, never being able to go back to your homeland and I don't know, that just kind of touched my heart.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys. Thank you, Michael, for joining me. I hope you guys,
totally.
I hope you listeners, like the 5 of you, really enjoy.
We see that people are still downloading our stuff.
I know. I'm just teasing. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. And then again, if you did it, please subscribe, leave a review, and definitely share your thoughts of your own paranormal experiences on our social media channels. You can find us on Facebook at the Violet Hour Podcast and on Instagram with the same handle.
And share this with your friends.
Share it with your friends, yes.
Share it with your mom, your dad, your brother,
everybody
your sister, your infant son or daughter. Share it with them.
You are so funny, Michael. All right, friends, stay inquisitive and stay eerie. Bye.
See ya.